Here. Hello, my name is Joey Scarpulla. I'm a senior sales engineer here at Exostar, and today we'll be going over the Exostar's Managed Microsoft 365 for CMMC compliance solution. All right, today's webinar is going to last around 40 to 45 minutes, including Q&A. You will be muted while I present here so that I can continue without interruption. You can submit any questions here via the chat feature. We have Malcolm online, and he'll help answer those questions while I go through this webinar here. In case of an outage, just try to reconnect. If you need to speak one of our Exostar's Managed Microsoft 365 experts, please reach out to managedmicrosoft365@exostar.com. You can also check out our web pages. You can go straight to exostar.com. There is a chat feature on every page there if you wanted to communicate with us. Otherwise, you could go to our products page, go to the Exostar's Managed Microsoft 365 page, and you'll have some more information there, as well as a chat and a shared responsibility matrix there that you can view. A quick glossary of acronyms. EMM 365 is Exostar's Managed Microsoft 365. DoD is Department of Defense. SMB is Small and Medium-Sized Business. GCCH is Government Community Cloud High. NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. CMMC is Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. DFARS is Defense Federal Acquisitions Regulations Supplement. DIB in Defense Industrial Base. CUI, Controlled Unclassified Information. SaaS is Software as a Service, and MFA is Multi-Factor Authentication, which includes 2FA, Two-Factor Authentication. All right, so what is CUI or CUI? It can be a number of things. It could be engineering drawings, it could be plans, instructions, source code, bill of materials. It's a number of things. What you really need to look for is if you have DFARS clauses in your contracts. And with that, they should be giving you documentation. They should label it CUI, but sometimes they don't label it. And if you feel it is CUI, you should protect it as CUI, but you should also contact your prime and ask if it should be marked as CUI. All right, so what is the Exostar's Managed Microsoft 365 solution? First, it starts with we provide you an identity management and 2FA for all the users. You federate into a Teams environment from Exostar's portal, and this Teams environment is in GCC High. And within that GCC High environment, we created an application called Managed Microsoft 365 into Teams, right? Because in Teams, in general Teams, anyone could create a team. We blocked that functionality from regular Teams, and you now need to do it through our application. And within our application, you can manage those team creations, you can invite users, and you can do domain management. You can also store, share, collaborate in real time CUI data with internal or external partners securely. It includes all licenses, so you'll have GCC High licenses as well as 2FA licenses to get into that environment. With that solution, it handles 85 of the 110 controls of NIST 800-171 and or the CMMC Level 2 controls. Now, this solution is an add-on. It's not a replacement for your commercial Office. So you'll continue to use your Office as you do now. You log in through a browser to get into our solution, and you work with CUI data there. It includes a new compliant file drop feature, which allows external users to email CUI directly into the enclave or out of the enclave without that external partner requiring any GCC High or Exostar accounts to do that. All right, so what are we trying to solve here? We're trying to give you a place to store and process your CUI data. And the reason you need that is because DoD is now enforcing these compliance requirements. So you may have contracts that have DFARS clauses like 7012. And if you have that in your clause, that means you are receiving CUI and you need to secure and protect that CUI. So what changes do you have to make on your end? As an IT, you don't have to make any changes on your end because you will continue to use your commercial type businesses or commercial type environment as you do for commercial type things. The only thing you'd be doing is logging in through Exostar's portal, which is a browser, into Exostar, and then get into the Teams environment, which that will be the place to store and collaborate with CUI in that scenario there. All right, we provide a cost-effective, easy way to store your CUI data here. We partnered up with Microsoft. Microsoft gives us that Teams environment in GCC High. However, we put on the application on top of Teams, and together we provide that solution that can protect CUI data. And with that solution, it comes with multi-factor authentication. And if you want to invite users, you can invite them from any domain. They can come in from Gmail or Yahoo if need be. The solution is backend is FedRAMP moderate equivalent. So it handles 85 those 110 controls, as well as it is a regular Teams experience. So if you're familiar with Teams and SharePoint, you'll get that same familiar experience that you're used to now. So the way this works is you will continually to use your Microsoft Office and commercial environment for commercial type things. And when, so if you need to email someone something that's commercial, that's not really CUI, you use your current Outlook in Office. But when you do work with CUI, you would log in through a browser, get into the Exostar solution, and there you would have your CUI data that you need to view or edit within that enclave. Now, this can be up and running within 48 hours, so you get started quickly to start managing or start moving your CUI data into this enclave. We do have end user training. So once you signed up for the Managed Microsoft 365, we'll help onboard you as well as provide training for that onboarding and how to use the solution. We do have dedicated support with U.S. personnel on U.S. soil, so it will also cover ITAR type information. Here is another snapshot view on what it looks like. The way this small, medium-sized business works is we have our own tenant that we purchased from Microsoft, and we added this application on top of it, where now we can segregate that enclave into different sections, so we have different customers have different sections of that enclave, and within each section they have the ability to manage their own teams, invite users, and file sharing. They are separated and gated so no one can access anyone else's data. We do have the Exostar's portal, which provides you the identity management and MFA to get into the solution. And once you get into the solution, we are federated into, from Exostar, you are federated into that Teams environment, which gives you now the ability to access your team and access that data and do controls and restrictions around that data. All right, we also have an enterprise type solution for the enterprise guys. So how that works is for an enterprise type solution or users where they have more than 100 users, they say they have their own GCC High environment, but they don't want to invite users into their environment. They would actually utilize Exostar's enclave to be that meet tenant where they can log into this location and be able to share and collaborate around that data. So with that, the way that works is this is their GCC High environment. We would create a B2B connection from their GCC High environment to our GCC High environment. The enterprise users will use their AD credentials to get right into the enclave. But for their partners, the partners will come in through Exostar, through their browser, log into that enclave to those teams that they were invited to, and then be able to access and share that data within that. It makes it very easy for the enterprise solution or the enterprise users to be able to manage users more easily instead of inviting users into their own enclave. Another quick view on what that looks like. Again, this is our enterprise, or this is our solution, and then a customer from the enterprise would have a B2B connection to get in there. And on the other side, users would use their browser to log in through Exostar and then get federated into this Teams environment. And there's where you do team creation and user invitation from there. We have another feature called compliant file drop feature. And what this does is this allows you the ability to receive and send email within this enclave. And the way that works is, say a partner like Lockheed Martin or Boeing, they have their compliant type email server and they want to send you a CUI document. They would send that document to a Teams-based email address. So I'll get into this a little bit, but the way it works is when you create a team, for every team you create in the enclave, it has an associated email address or GCC High email address with it that you can provide to your partners, and they can email CUI directly to that email address. We also do malware, ransomware, virus checker on that email that comes in, and then either a sponsor admin or team manager can view that in that file drop inbox view, read that email, and then if it deems appropriate where you need to export the documents to Teams, you will export it into the team and or move it to other teams wherever it needs to reside. All right, so let's get into a demo of what this looks like. I will pull this up. All right, so to get into Exostar, you would go to portal.exostar.com. And once you have an account, all you do is log in with your username and password. Here's my username. I'm logging in as Adam Spark. I put in my password, and that gets me into Exostar. It is a free account to create an Exostar account. Once you're in this scenario here, now this is like the front door for many applications that Exostar handles or hosts. One is that manage Microsoft 365, but say you also use Certification Assistant, you would also come through this portal to access that as well. Once you're subscribed to Manage Microsoft 365, you will get this tile here, and you click on Launch. The first thing it's going to want to do is verify your 2FA to get into this solution. Now, if you already have credentials like I do, this is my hardware key. I can use that to get into the solution. Otherwise, the minimum to get in here is just an SMS OTP, and that's what I'll do right now. I'll select my phone number, and I'll send my phone number a text. I'll go grab that text, pop that in here. And with that, that verifies my 2FA to get into the solution, which is one of the CMMC requirements for that. The first thing you're going to see is a Teams environment. So if you're familiar with Teams, it just looks like regular Teams. However, what we did in regular Teams, anyone could create a new team. Anyone can add teams to that. Anyone can add users to that team. But what we did is we blocked that functionality here, and we created a managed Microsoft 365 application on top of Teams, which is now going to govern the team creation, user invitation, and more, and lock that down more. So here you'll see I am logged in as Adam Spark. My corporate domain is gloryminerals.com, also known as the sponsor domain in this tenant. And as Adam Spark, he's also the sponsor admin here, which gives him the ability to do all these functions up here. We do have 3 type roles. One's a sponsor admin that can do all these functions. We have a team manager role that can only allow to invite additional users to a team. And then we have a member role that doesn't have access to any of these things, but does have access to the team that they're invited to. So they can view and edit those files only in that team that they're invited to. All right, so the first thing I might want to do as an admin, I'll go to the admin tab. And here are a few things I can do. One is called user management. What this allows me to do is I can search for any email address that I have previously invited into the solution. So the way this works is anyone who you either internal or external gets invited into a team will take up a GCC High license seat, right? Doesn't matter how many teams you're in, it's just one seat per user. And you'll see that Emma Jackson is part of a number of teams. So, but she does take up one license. So say I worked with Emma Jackson, who's from Granger Systems. You know, we worked on this project together for 6 months. Now that project is over, I can now remove Emma Jackson from the system, permanently delete the user, and free up that GCC High license. Then I could turn around and use for someone else on a different project. Just because I delete the user from the system doesn't mean any data that she touched has been deleted or has changed their name. Their name will still exist on which files they may have accessed or modified. Sponsor admins. These are the admins of the tenant. Adam Spark is ready as sponsor admin, but say Adam's on vacation, you can add additional sponsor admins, and Catalina can now come in here and be that backup role for Adam. Domain management. This is like a whitelist of domains you allow users to be invited from. Your corporate domain is already part of the system, but say you want to invite users that are external from your corporate domain. The first thing you'd want to do is add their partner domain, like we added here, grangersystems.com. Just because this domain is here doesn't mean anyone from grangersystems.com can come in and access this team and so forth. They would still be denied. What you have, this is more of a security where, so say when a team manager wants to invite someone, they can only invite people from the allocated domain list that you have here. So for you to invite someone here, you have to specifically invite someone from this domain here, and then they can have access to that team. Now, if you noticed here, I do have grangersystems.com, but I don't have yahoo.com on my list. And you'll see that when I try to invite someone from Yahoo. Licenses. This is going to be what your current license and storage count is. How many licenses you have purchased. It'll show you how many licenses have been assigned, how many available. When you start getting close to your limit, you'll have a little pop-up saying you're getting close to your limit. What you can do is you can delete users to free up that license, or you can buy more licenses. You click on this button, this will take you to the buy page. You can buy more licenses in blocks of 5. Down below is your storage count, how much storage you have, how much are used. And if you need more additional storage, again, you can buy more in increments of 50 gig. All right, so let's get into actually a workflow here. We're going to start with creating a team. We'll create a team called B1 Demo. I'll create this team for 6 months and create team. So what happens now is this B1 Demo team is being created in the backend in Azure GCC High. However, the only person that's being added to the team is the creator of the team. So since Adam Spark is since I'm logged in as Adam Spark, only Adam Spark will have access to this B1 Demo team, and only Adam Spark will actually even see the B1 Demo team in the list of teams. So the next step here is I want to invite additional users to that team. I'll go to the invitation tab. I'll select that B1 Demo team I just created. I'll copy and paste the list of email addresses I want to invite to that team. I could easily type their email address here, separate them by semicolon. And now our next step is to do a lookup, which is now going to verify these email addresses. Here you see that I tried to sneak in someone at yahoo.com on my list here. But as you noticed, yahoo.com was not on my domain list. So I can't easily invite someone from a domain that's not authorized. This middle section has 2 properties to make them valid. One, they have a valid domain. So gloryminerals.com is my corporate domain, so that's valid. grangersystems.com is on my domain list, so that's valid. And they already have Exostar accounts, so I can easily invite them into this team. Everyone usually comes in as the role member. However, users that are part of the corporate domain, I can actually invite them as a team manager. Now, team manager is a subset role of the sponsor admin role. What a team manager role does is if Maya Smith is a team manager of the B1 Demo team, she can now come into this invitation tab and invite additional users to the B1 Demo team, or any other team she might be a team manager of. But she will not be able to create new teams, and she won't be able to change that domain list of domains. This bottom section has two other properties, or they have valid domains, but they don't have an Exostar account. So in this scenario, when I submit this invitation, is Dury Park and Flynn will receive an email notification that they've been invited to a team, but they need to register into Exostar first. They'll have a registration link there. They'll click on that link. It'll take them to Exostar. It'll let them create their account. Their free account. They'll create that account there. Once they have their account created, there's a backend process that'll check, and then it'll move them from a pending state and then move them into that B1 demo team or any team that they've been invited to. Here's a little pop-up that will show you that all these team members have been added or the emails have been submitted. And like I said before, once someone registers and they are added to the team, they'll get this new pop-up here that they are now subscribed to that Managed Microsoft 365. All right, so now we'll move into that team section, because what we did now is we created a team and we invited users to that team. So let's go to that team's location now. Here you'll see that B1 demo team has been created. However, there's nothing in this team, so I'm going to move over to a team that does have information. Here's Granger Systems. There's probably like 3 internal users and 2 external users here. And because they're part of that, only those 5 users will have access to this general tab. And within this general tab, now you're looking at more of a Teams functionality if you're familiar with that, right? You have your post section. I can now communicate back and forth. Whoever's part of this general tab or part of this team, we can communicate by creating posts. We also have the files location. This is the guts of our solution. This is where you would go to drag and drop your CUI data up into this enclave. Now, this is like a regular Windows folder structure. So I can create new folders and new subfolders. I could upload any file type or any file size. I can even upload a whole folder of data, right? I can easily drag it from my desktop right into here, and I'll upload the whole folder within this enclave. I can view any file type. Well, not any file type, most file types in this enclave. So if I want to look at this PDF file, I can click on that. It's going to render this PDF file in the enclave without me needing to download it first. I can also create documents here. Since this is a Microsoft product, they give us web applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Visio that I can actually create these documents within this enclave. So here I am. I am going to create a B1 demo doc. I'm creating this document in the enclave. I can also modify it here as well. This is a test. And I'm modifying this in the browser within the enclave. I didn't need to download this first, so it's keeping secure within the enclave. Now, say someone also logged into this team, open up this B1 demo doc that I'm actually in. We can actually collaborate and modify this document together in real time. But that's more of a Teams functionality. Okay, there are other things you can do here. You can add more applications to work on, like issue tracker or list and so forth. Again, more of Teams type functionality. The second feature, well, let me go back to the Managed Microsoft 365 here. Let's go through some of these other tabs. Another tab here is Manage Teams. What you can do with Manage Teams is for every team you create, let's start with, all right. We'll start with the CUI inbox. So for every team you create has an associated GCC High email address and is based on the team name. So here I created a team called CUI inbox previously. Here's that new team GCC High email address, CUI inbox at Exostar GCC2 on Microsoft.us. Now the team name is something you can create, but we do append our own GCC2 on Microsoft.us that can't be changed. Now, this team email address gets created per team. However, it is disabled by default. So if you want to be able to receive email on it, you will enable team file drop. If you want to be able to send externally, then you would need to enable send files externally. Once these two are enabled, I can now receive and send out of this CUI inbox team. Now, I normally say you can set this up in 3 different ways. One would be you have one general box like the CUI inbox, and you provide this one email address to all your partners and say, either Lockheed or Bowen, and you say, hey, if you have any CUI, you can email it directly to this team's email address, and it will go directly into this file drop inbox, as well as you will get notifications to your commercial email saying, hey, you received CUI in the enclave, go check it out. That is one scenario. A second scenario, well, within that first scenario, say you do receive 2 emails, one from Lockheed Martin, one from Bowen. You can have 2 other teams called Lockheed Martin and one for Bowen, and you have this one general box. So say you received an email from Lockheed Martin, you have an attachment there, and you say, oh, this is for the Lockheed Martin team. You can now move that document to that Lockheed Martin team. And then say you get another document from Bowen, you can move that document now to the Bowen team. So you have one general box, you have a couple team managers to review those emails and move data around. Our second scenario would be you have a dedicated team for a dedicated partner. For instance, you have a Bowen team, you have a Bowen type email address, you give it to the Bowen partners, you have them email directly to that Bowen email address, and only the Bowen team members have access to that data. The third scenario is, say you want a more personalized type email. What you do is you create a team based on your name, and you would have like Adam Spark at Exostar GCC2 on Microsoft.us, and then you could provide that to your partners and say, hey, you can email me here, and that'd be like your personal email. Now, it is a Teams email, so say Adam Spark did get left the company, that those email addresses won't get deleted because it's not a personal email. So those emails will still exist. All you have to do is add another member to that team, and then they can have access to that Adam Spark emails that were there. All right, so let's go through these other features here. We have team members. Team members are going to be the teams that you have invited to the team. So I have invited Adam and Emma to this team. Pending users are going to be users that are, actually, let me go into the B1 demo team here. Pending users are going to be the users that don't have Exostar accounts that you invited into the team. And so they will remain in pending users until they register. Keep in mind that pending users also consume a license here, because when they do register, it will take that license. So if someone is sitting here for a couple months and they never register, you can come in here and delete the user from the system, free up that GCC High license, then you can use that for someone else. Private channels. This is going to be a list of private channels that someone have created. So in other words, say in a team, right, we have a couple, here's that Granger Systems, we have a couple private channels here, right? Private channels can be created by anyone who's part of that team. So say one user goes in here, they do add channel, and they create a private channel, like Emma creates a private channel here. I'm logged in as Adam Spark. So if Emma created a private channel here, I wouldn't even know that it even exists because she didn't add me to that team. Say Emma leaves the company. Again, I still wouldn't know that there's one that exists. So that's why we created this little management team to view private channels. So now if I go to this Granger Systems here, and I go to that private channels, I can now see that, oh, wow, there is a Emma private channel here. And Emma's no longer here. So what I can now do is I can click here and I can add myself to that channel and then gain access to any data she might have left behind in that channel. All right, let's get back to that file drop inbox. So as I mentioned before, once you receive email to that email address, it will come into this file drop inbox. And here you can now view that email. Right here, I'm going to click on this. I got an email from Kevin. I'll click on view. And down below, I'll see the body of the message here, as well as the attachments, right? Now, if I want to view these attachments, I do have to export it to a team. So I'll click on export. And what's going to happen now, it's going to export this attachment to that team, as well as it's going to convert the body of the message to a PDF file, because even the body of the message could be CUI. We convert it to a PDF file and also export it to that team. Once it's in that exported location, that's when you can view those files and or move things around. So let's click on here. This will take us to that exported email location. What we do is we create an exported emails folder within the team, as well as the date and time stamp of that email. Here's the two exported emails, the attachments. One's the PDF file, right? I can click on that. Here's that PDF file that got generated. And here's one that I have, here's the attachment that they sent it. Again, I can click on this. I can view this in the attachment, in the enclave. And here is that, document. Now, say, as I mentioned before, say I wanted to move things around. Say, oh, here's a file that is for the Bowen team. Let me click on this. I can click on, actually, let me go to a different team. I want to click on a different team. We'll go to, let's see. Yeah, the reason I want to go to a different team is because on a different team, I do have the send files externally enabled. So I want to be able to show that in a little bit. All right, let's go back into here. All right, here's like another exported emails that I've previously. Oh no, I went to the same place. Hold on a second. I wanted to go here. All right, so here's that exported emails. Here's a bunch of things I have extracted before. Okay, so back to my scenario here. Here's a document that say I want to move to the Bowen team. I'll select this 3 dots. I'll select move to. And now I can select a Bowen team that I want to move to. So I'll select on more places. I will now select the Bowen team. And now I can choose a folder that I want to send it to. I can either put it in the main folder, the general tab, or any other place here, any folders I have previously created there. So I want to move it to the general tab there. I can now click on move, and now it's going to move this Apple's document to that general tab in the Bowen team. So now the Bowen people will have access to that document. The next scenario here is, what if I want to send this document out to the Bowen location or someone externally? Again, I'll click on these 3 dots. I'll see send files externally. Keep in mind, this will only pop up if you have send files externally enabled on that team. So it is enabled here, and I can now send this out here. So let me send it to someone myself here. I put in the subject, put in a message. Here's that attachment I want to send out. But notice how the send box is not enabled. Why? Because you want to make sure that the person you send it to is also compliant. So we have an acknowledge button. In other words, we don't want you to send this to someone's commercial account. You don't want to send this to someone's Gmail account. You want to make sure you're doing your due diligence that the person you're sending to has a compliant type email server to receive CUI, because you are, moving it out of your enclave. So you want to make sure that data is being protected properly. Once you do your due diligence and you know that Bowen does have a secure place to receive CUI, you can now click on acknowledge, and now that send button be enabled, and now I can ship that document out to that location out there. Okay. I'll go back to this Manage Microsoft 365, take a look at some other things here. Anything else in Manage Teams? We do have delete team, and what that is I can delete a team completely. So here's my A1 demo team. I can click on delete, just put in the name here, and delete the team. And now I permanently delete this team, and it goes into this administration place. So if I go back to admin tab now, there's a deleted teams location. I can click on that, and you'll now see that deleted team I just deleted. If I wanted to, I could restore that team. All the users do get removed when you delete a team. So when you restore a team, you do need to add users back to that team to gain access to that data, or any other, or any users that you need to have access to that. All right, our last section here is reports. This is where you would go to do reporting, right? We have an audit report. Now, an audit report is usually large, so when you generate the report, it downloads the spreadsheet to your file. So that's why we have a box called include CUI, because if you are downloading this spreadsheet to your local workstation and is not compliant, then you don't want to include CUI. But if you have a compliant type workstation downloaded to, then you can include that. And the things you can do is you have a date range. You can do a simple 7 days or custom range. You can do the report on all the teams or one team. You have a bunch of categories to choose from if you want to do it based on a team, a user, domain, a file drop, as well as what type of events happened. Did they add, remove, delete, view, export, send notifications? So a bunch of things you can report on. Now, we are continuously updating our application monthly, so we'll have more and more reports here. However, if there is a specific report that you're trying to pull and you can't seem to get it from this audit report, please reach out to us. Microsoft tracks everything, right? And that's what they need to do to be compliant. So you ask us for the report, we'll get it from Microsoft and we'll be able to provide that report to you. Other reports we have here is licensed user report. This one I can do generate. This is going to show me all the licensed users, right? And how many teams they might be in, right? And you'll see how there's some that are pending, right? So if I wanted to remove this user, I can. But we do have a specific pending user report. So here I'll generate that report. Here you'll see these are all the pending user report. Here is a guy that I added or is still pending since October of 25, or since October 25 of 2023. So if I want to delete this user, I can easily click on this user. This will pop up this message here. Now I can delete and permanently delete the user, which will now free up that GCC High license that then I can use for someone else. Again, we have a teams report. This will show you all your teams you have, as well as how many users are in it, when they were created, how much storage they're using. And talking about storage, so the storage is based on the whole enclave and not per team. So if you have 50 gig will be for your whole enclave. So it can be spread out through all these teams here. And it's also not based on a user, it's based on just everything that you do in the enclave. And then you have a user report where again you'll see where they logging in from, what teams they might be on. All right, so that is the conclusion of the demo there, but let me get back to the PowerPoint. So what we did here is Microsoft provided us that trusted collaboration, that GCC High environment. Exostar provides the identity management. It gives you the username and password and the 2FA, as well as that managed Microsoft 365 application to control teams and invitation. And because of that, we partnered up with Microsoft and we created this compliance type environment that can now handle 85 of those 110 controls and give you a place to safeguard your CUI information. Now that managed Microsoft 365 piece is one piece of the puzzle. We have what we call our CMMC Readiness suite. Managed Microsoft 365 is the technology piece. That's going to be the piece that you can store your CUI and collaborate, and it gives you a place to do that. Then we have two other tools called Certification Assistant and Policy Pro. These is going to be more like your paper product, or this is where you would go to create your SSP plan and your policies, right? Certification Assistant is going to be the tool that's going to walk through all the 110 controls. It's going to have, it's going to help you create that SSP plan. It's going to have information on each control and how to satisfy the control, who to talk to, where to look, and so forth. It's going to give you a place to upload your policies. It's going to give you a place to upload your evidence. You're going to be able to create poems with that. You're going to be able to create reports, your SSP plan, and your POEM reports, and it's going to calculate what your current score is for your NIST 800-171, right? And it puts it on that front page of what your score is, and it's based on which controls you have marked as implemented or not implemented. Now that works hand in hand with Policy Pro. Certification Assistant doesn't create the policies, but you can attach policies there. But Policy Pro is going to be the tool that'll help you create policies. Policy Pro has two major features with it. One is going to be the templates, right? It's going to have a template for every single control, right? For example, it's going to have template for control 3.1.1. It's going to have the full template there. It's going to say, you know, what's your turnaround for account creation, user account creation. It's going to have a little underscore there. All you do is put in, all right, it's going to take me 48 hours to do a user account creation when someone asks for an account, right? So it has all the templates for all the controls. What it also does is it has a second feature that checks out how well written that policy is. You know, it assesses that policy. And there's an AI engine back in the back end to, you know, review all the policies. And it does what we call our Kenny system. It checks for key elements not included. And what that means is, say you started with the template, or say you have policies in-house that you've previously written. You can use either one of those, upload that policy into Policy Pro, and now it's going to assess that policy to see how well written it is. It's going to give you a score. It's not like an academic score, so anything over 50% is a pretty well written document, but it's going to give you guidance on how to make that policy better. It's going to give you key elements or phrases not included. You're going to see, for example, you're going to see, you know, FIPS is missing in control 3.1.18. If you go back to that template or that policy for 3.1.18 and you add the word FIPS and a verbiage around that and say you're covering that in your controls, now that score for that policy has been increased. It's showing you that you are satisfying the FIPS for that control. You'll have a better score. Once you have a well-rounded policy, that's when you export it at Policy Pro. You import a certification assistant, you attach it to those specific controls that policy is referencing. So these three are SaaS applications. They are an annual type payment. However, we have one fourth option, which is a basic assessment. This is a third-party partner of ours that will come in and actually assess your environment, also using your certification assistant and Policy Pro tools. Right? They'll actually go into certification assistant with you. They'll walk through all the 110 controls. They'll mark controls as implemented or not implemented. They'll create POEMs for you. And at the end of the assessment, you'll see what your current score is within certification assistant. They'll give you guidance on, they'll give you a list of POEMs that are still outstanding. They'll give you guidance on how to close out those POEMs. And if need be, you can even hire them to help close out those POEMs, as well as any remediation you need to do, or even help you close out those or create policies for you. So within that, once you have this full suite, you will get at 100%, at 110 once you completed all those POEMs in the end. All right, so that is our Managed Microsoft 365 solution, as well as the CMMC Readiness Suite. Hopefully Malcolm was able to answer all your questions here. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, again, you could reach us out at Manage Microsoft 365 at exostar.com, and we'll be sure to answer your questions there. Thank you again. Have a good day.